He's Don Robinson's best friend at times when Robbie throws his slider down in that area.
Now, the one thing Roden would like to do in this inning certainly is to not have to face Jody Davis with the bases loaded. The Cubs, psychologically, they get that home field advantage here, and they've already had a couple of breaks in the first inning. Now, if they can get the, what happened with Moreland, the true kind of a base hit, they might be able to break things open. So Rick needs to get Say to close out this inning and hope that the Cubs don't break it loose right off the bat.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Got him looking. The inning is over. 4 hits, and the Cubbies come up with a run in the bottom half of the first inning. Rick gets away without any further damage. The Pirates will go to the work in the top of the second with the middle part of the order. Jason Thompson, George Hendrick, and Tony Pena. After 1 in Wrigley Field, Chicago, it's the Cubs 1 and the Pirates nothing.
I'm Rick Fowler, State Farm agent, Orlando, Florida, speaking for the thousands of State Farm agents around the country. With State Farm's Home Alert discount, you'll save money on your homeowner's insurance. With deadbolt door locks, a smoke alarm, and a fire extinguisher. You can't lose. You save money on your homeowner's insurance, and you protect your home. Ask a State Farm agent about the Home Alert discount.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Give me a light. Bud Light. If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Bud Light!
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Opening day, Three River Stadium. Friday, April 12th, the Pirates host the Cardinals in the first ever night home opener. We're bringing back the lumber. Friday night, April 12th. Get your ticket to the stadium, Kaufman's or Gimbel's, or call 323-1150.
Let's go Hawks! Let's go Hawks! Let's go Hawks!
And for the first time in this brand new baseball season, we have a Giant Eagle home run sweepstakes inning. Donald Barber of Uniontown is our contestant here in the second. If a Pirate hits a home run, Donald will pick up $100 in Giant Eagle groceries, plus certificates for 24 12-ounce cans of Pepsi Free, certificates redeemable at your grocer. And Jason Thompson, who of his 17 home runs last year, Rook hit 5 of them right here in this ballpark.
4 of them happened to be at a doubleheader. That was some kind of a power display Jason put on. And they were thunderous shots, too. Boy, he really did go long ball.
Takes a called strike. That's a National League strike there.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Sutcliffe established his control in the first inning, and once you do that, you're going to get those calls on the corners.
Thompson batted .290 against the Cubs last year. 17 runs batted in. Did not get that call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Threw him the breaking ball down low. It's also a story about Rick Sutcliffe working on a new pitch. Apparently he's working on a fork ball, right?
He tried it a little bit in spring training, but I don't know. I wouldn't think at this particular point you'd see it very, very often.
Thompson rolls it foul outside of first. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Cub defense, Durham at first, Ryan Sandberg at second, Sean Dunston, the rookie, at short, Ron Say at third, Gary Matthews in left, Bob Dernier in center, Keith Moreland at right, Davis behind the plate, and it's Rick Sutcliffe out on the mound. Dunston, the rookie in the starting lineup. The Pirates have a pair of rookies this year. Mike Bilecki is a rookie, and Joe Orsulak, a rookie. Again, JT fouls it away. Thompson on the year last year, a .254 batting average, 74 RBIs. Jason's last 2 years have been down years for him compared to the big year that he had. We'll see if the new lineup with a little protection for Jason pays off.
I think it will.
I mean protection in the form of George Hendrick, who will follow. That one is foul in the Pirate bullpen.
Well, if you look at it from Sutcliffe's side, you get ahead in the ball game. Let's say Hendrick wasn't behind Thompson. He wouldn't have to come in there with as many strikes. He would try to keep the ball off the plate a little bit and get Jason to fish for the ball, which JT did a few times last year and tried to do it on his own, but They have to come in there more often to him this year.
Jason.
Especially here. Now, here's the situation,
Right.
John. You go 3-2 on the hitter. I don't want to walk him because we got another guy behind him that can hurt me. So I better throw the ball closer to the strike zone.
By the way, Jason Thompson batted .262 in spring training. He hit 2 home runs, one of them on our spring training television game, and he had 13 RBIs to lead the club in that department. Went to the breaking pitch, down low, so Thompson leads off with a walk. Jason, with a good batting eye, has been among the leaders in the National League in walks, and he's aboard to start the top of the second inning. It's a Giant Eagle inning for Donald Barber of Uniontown.
You know, whether it's consciously or not, I think last year, Jason, even though he's patient, he might have went after that pitch last year because he didn't have somebody hitting behind him and figured, well, I better do it because nobody else is going to. But now with the patience and that eye of the strike zone, let this guy behind me help out, and he can do it.
Hendrick batting for the first time in black and gold and gray in the road uniforms. George coming over from the St. Louis Cardinals, where he batted .277 last year with 9 home runs. George has the most unusual major league pants in baseball. See how low they are? He has to have them specially designed.
You know, I've always thought that he keeps them longer like that because they won't call the low pitch on him.
1 ball, 1 strike. Sutcliffe has walked 1, struck out 1. Took a little something off. Slowly hit the short to get 1, and that's all. Dunston getting the ball to Sandberg for the force, but the ball was hit slowly. And as we mentioned, it's damp and it's the real grass there. The ball was rather slow to get to the shortstop.
Well, this ballpark here, the grass in Chicago slows the ball down even in the summertime. But today it will be even more so because of the conditions.
The batter now will be Tony Pena. As we like to call him, take your time, Tony, at the plate. Because he does. He's another young man whose role offensively will be different this year. He does not have to worry about trying to hit home runs. Last year, Tony did hit 15 homers and drove in 78 runs. The Pirates need to see from Tony Pena base hits. Hendrick at first, 1 out. We're in the second, 1-0. Chicago leads. Donald Barber of Uniontown is at bat in the Giant Eagle jackpot inning. On the corner, a strike to Tony Pena, who batted .357 with a couple of home runs against Chicago pitching last year. And Tony in spring training did not hit any home runs this year, batted .250. Holds up in time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony may see a little bit of action at first base this year. Yesterday on the bus coming out to the ballpark, he said, how many games do we play in April? Figured up we play, I think, 18 games. He said, well, I'm going to catch 18 games in April. And he probably will. Slow roller to third. Say's play is to first. Pena is out. Hendricks moves to second. George Hendrick at second now with 2 outs.
You know, there are going to be several plays today. You look ahead that are going to be made a little more difficult because of the conditions. We mentioned the wind and the cold weather, but it's also the feeling of the infielder's hands. I remember back in '79, it was so cold in that opening game in Baltimore that Phil Garner completely lost his feeling. A double play ball that would have closed out an inning actually opened the door for the Orioles because he couldn't feel the ball like he normally does and couldn't make an accurate throw.
Doug Frobel hit 3 of his 12 home runs against Chicago pitching last year. Doug, a year ago, was the starter in right field. As he takes a strike on the outside corner, he is in left field to begin this season.
They have a TV camera out in center field above the bleachers, and Frobel, one of the home runs he hit, went right next to that camera shot out there, and that is a long way in this ballpark.
Down and in to Doug Frobel.
He looks a lot more comfortable this year, John. I think you got to the point last year where he was pressing, although Doug would give you the impression that everything was just dandy, but he had an ulcer problem, and I think that was the telltale sign. He lost 12 pounds, and He got it back in the off season, and he's played a lot better in spring training.
Sutcliffe went outside. Now he comes back inside. It's 1-2. In spring training, Doug Frobel hit .275, had a pair of homers and 9 RBIs. Hendrick at second, 2 outs. We're in the second. 1-0. Chicago leads it here on Wrigley Field. Opening day of 1985 baseball season for the Cubs and the Pirates. Hendrick reached on a fielder's choice, forcing Jason Thompson, who walked, to open the inning. Now there are 2 outs. Frobel went after a bad pitch and strikes out. No home run in our Giant Eagle sweepstakes inning, but we don't have any losers here. Donald Barber will receive certificates for 24 12-ounce cans of Pepsi Free. Those certificates redeemable at your grocer. And the next time we go to bat in our Giant Eagle sweepstakes, we'll be up to $200. Rick Sutcliffe still is not allowed a hit. He gave up a walk to the Pirates, but no damage. Bottom of the second for Chicago. Bottom third of the order. It'll be Jody Davis, Sean Dunston, and Rick Sutcliffe. 1-0. The Cubs lead in Wrigley Field.
Once again, a supermarket is trying to fool you with double coupons. But this time it won't work, because double coupons don't save you money, they cost you money. You see, manufacturers only reimburse supermarkets for the face value of the coupon. You pay the rest in the form of higher food prices. That's why the new Giant Eagle only redeems coupons at face value. The manufacturer pays for that, not you. So if you have a coupon another store will double, redeem it. But watch out for the price of everything else.
Open Denny's menu. You'll find something unexpected.
Oh.
Like chicken cacciatore.
No.
Sure, and steak Dijon. Fact is, all 6 of our new dinners are surprising. Come, see for yourself.
Are you sure we're at Denny's?
Denny's, where you'll like our prices and you'll be surprised by our new dinners. Try one and get dessert free.
Brakes going bad? Try stopping at Midas for a free brake inspection. It may save you money in the long run.
Trust the Midas touch.
The Birds and Bees and Dr. Ruth, Tuesday on Evening Magazine.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field in Chicago for opening day baseball 1985. Delighted to have you with us. Wherever you might be watching in the tri-state area, they love the Cubbies here. We know you like the Pirates in Pittsburgh. 323-1150. You can call right now. Get your tickets for opening night. St. Louis Cardinals, 6 o'clock in Three Rivers on Friday night. Jim, we've talked about the weather. It's 35 degrees. The wind's blowing about 13 miles an hour. As a pitcher, what kind of an effect does it have on you to pitch in this weather? Now, it probably doesn't feel that bad because the playing field here is in the sun, so it might seem a little bit warmer, but what effect does that have on you physically and mentally out there?
Well, Rick himself said once the sun comes out, it's not so bad. But what happens and the problems that come to play are in between innings. Once you get in the dugout and you get out of the sun, and if you have to stay in there for any period of time, now it's okay if your team scores enough runs for you, but they'll have maybe a space heater down there, and they have this analgesic that they put on a pitcher's shoulder and arm. So that's what you want to keep the warmest, and it usually does the job.
Leadoff batter is Jody Davis. 256 his average from a year ago with 19 homers, 94 runs batted in. The Cubs came up with 4 hits, 2 of them infield jobs, one little dunker down the right field line for a double. Had only 1 solid hit in the inning, but they did manage to score a run. Oh, there's a good pitch.
Oof.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Jody Davis.
Now, luck can be so much a factor in baseball, and a couple of those hits that if they were outs, it'd still be a scoreless game. It's still very early yet, but it's the kind of game that you expect to be pitched with these 2 guys out there.
The leading batter was for the Cubs in spring training. It was Thad Bosley who made this ball club. Chris Spire made this ball club this year. Davey Lopes, of course, is here. Brian Dayette for Chicago had a great spring. Made the ball club. Steve Lake also played well. No, Dayette did not make the ball club. You know, that was the thing here in Chicago. They waited almost until game time, till the first pitch, before they made a decision. And it's tough to keep Dayette off this team, but they had to make room for Chris Spire.
That's true. And Gary Woods was the player they were trying to deal, work something out. It didn't develop, so Dayette had an option left. Even though he had the great spring, unfortunately, was sent down. Johnny Ray can't come up with it.
Davis hit it in the hole between first and second. Johnny Ray trying to track it down on the outfield grass, not able to come up with it.
Well, we'll have to see how they call it. Johnny Ray normally makes this play.